You had his arm and he broke away, though, correct?
No.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
Yeah.
I poured myself a large glass of wine.
Right.
I thought it necessary.
Right.
I'm so pathetic when it comes to knowing what movies I've done. I'm sorry. I just, I don't watch them. I feel better not watching them. What was the question again?
How many
Order in the court, or I will have you.
What really happened to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard after that explosive trial everyone watched in 2022? Fast forward to 2026, and the picture looks very different for both. Johnny Depp has stepped back into the spotlight with new films and that familiar, quiet confidence, while Amber Heard has built a private life far from Hollywood cameras. People still argue about the case, but the facts from the Virginia courtroom, where the jury spoke clearly, still shape how we see them today. In this script, we look honestly at where they actually stand right now, without the noise, without the old headlines, just the real paths they have taken since then. Here is the main body part, continuing directly from the hook in one flowing paragraph, ready for voiceover around 3,000 words. What really happened to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard after that explosive trial everyone watched in 2022 has kept fans talking for years, but now in May of 2026, the dust has settled enough to see clearer paths for both. And Johnny Depp stands in a place that feels earned. After everything he went through, he has returned to the work he loves with a quiet strength that many admire. The Virginia jury verdict back in 2022 gave him a sense of validation that carried him forward. And today he focuses on projects that speak to him personally without chasing the old Hollywood spotlight in the same frantic way. One of the biggest updates comes from his role as Ebenezer Scrooge. In the upcoming film Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol directed by T. West for Paramount Pictures, he appeared at CinemaCon 2026 in April to present the project and shared how stepping into this classic story felt like an extraordinary privilege because he has been obsessed with it since childhood. Reports from the set show him fully immersed in the Victorian look, transforming into the character with the kind of dedication fans have always loved about him. This marks a meaningful return to major studio filmmaking after years of choosing smaller or independent work, and the film is scheduled to hit theaters on November 13th, 2026, just in time for the holiday season audiences who grew up. Watching him as Captain Jack Sparrow or in films like Edward Scissorhands can see this as a fresh chapter where his experience brings depth to a role about redemption and change beyond that. Johnny has other projects on the horizon, including Day Drinker, a supernatural thriller with Penelope Cruz set for release in 2027. These steps show a man who took time to heal and now moves at his own pace. He has also continued his passion for art with exhibitions of his paintings and drawings. Drawing from decades of personal work, one recent showing in Tokyo highlighted pieces from his early years to now giving fans a glimpse into his creative world outside of acting. Living on his estate in Europe, he seems grounded, surrounded by the things that bring him peace, music, family, and the freedom to create without constant pressure the trial years were. Incredibly difficult for him with public scrutiny and personal losses, but he faced them head on, and the support from millions of fans worldwide helped carry him through moments. When he spoke about the case afterward, he emphasized how important it was to clear his name, not for fame, but for truth, and that honesty resonates with people who followed the courtroom. Testimonies close to the evidence presented, including audio recordings, text messages, and witness accounts, painted a complex picture, and the jury reached their decision. After careful review, which many saw as a turning point for Johnny now in 2026, he rarely brings up the past unless asked, preferring to let his work speak for him. Fans notice this. Maturity and respect, how he rebuilt without bitterness, turning instead to roles that challenge him, and stories that matter. This balanced approach feels real because no one comes out of such a high-profile battle unchanged. Yet Johnny has shown resilience by focusing forward on what he can control, his craft and his connections with those who truly know him. Reports from people close to productions describe him as professional and collaborative, bringing that signature charisma to the set while keeping things light with his humor. It is the kind of presence that reminds everyone why he became a star in the first place. Not just talent, but the ability to connect with audiences on a human level. Meanwhile, Amber Heard has chosen a very different path since the trial. She moved to Spain, settling in Madrid, where she lives Quieter life focused on raising her children away from the intense Hollywood environment she has been seen, enjoying everyday moments in the city parks and local spots, emphasizing family time in interviews and appearances tied to her recent work. She has reflected on how the legal battles affected her deeply in the documentary Silenced, which screened at Sundance. 2026, she appeared and shared thoughts about the broader impact of defamation cases on women speaking out, noting that she did not fully understand how challenging it could become. She has described losing her ability to speak freely in the same way and expressed a desire to step back from using her voice in the public arena that way her life in. Spain includes a home there and time dedicated to motherhood after welcoming more children in recent years. This shift away from big studio projects toward a more private existence shows someone trying to find stability after years of headlines. Both Johnny and Amber have moved on in their separate directions, and that separation feels clear in 2026 with no signs of ongoing conflict, just two people navigating the aftermath of a very public chapter of the original trial in Virginia remains a reference point because of how transparently it unfolded with daily coverage.
Allowing viewers to form their own opinions based on what was presented in court.
Johnny's legal team highlighted inconsistencies in evidence that supported his side while Amber's team argued theirs, yet the final jury decision favored Johnny on the key claims, and that outcome influenced how Hollywood and the public viewed the situation. Afterward, Johnny used the years following to rebuild through European films like Jean du Barry and his music collaborations. Before stepping back into American studio projects, this gradual return built anticipation, and when he took the stage at CinemaCon, it felt like a genuine moment of progress rather than a forced comeback. He spoke about the importance of storytelling and how certain roles stay with you from childhood, which added a personal touch that fans appreciated. His preparation for the Scrooge character involved deep research into Dickens' work and physical transformation, which photographers captured during early filming, showing his commitment to authenticity and performance art beyond movies. Johnny has maintained his interest in directing and producing, hinting at future projects that blend his unique vision with classic tales. This creative freedom comes from years of experience and a willingness to take risks that not every actor embraces in his personal life. He values privacy more now, surrounding himself with close friends and family while still connecting with supporters through occasional public appearances or social media glimpses. These small interactions keep the bond strong without overexposure, which feels like a healthy evolution after the media storm of the trial years. On the other side, Amber's focus on Europe has allowed her to explore stage work and selective artistic projects in Spain and nearby regions. She has mentioned in past reflections how the intense public attention changed her priorities, leading her to prioritize a calmer environment for her family. The documentary appearance at Sundance marked one of her rare returns to the conversation around the trial, where she framed it within larger discussions about legal tools and personal impact without revisiting every detail. This approach shows a person trying to move forward while acknowledging the lasting effects of such a visible dispute. Fans of Johnny appreciate how he avoided turning the situation into ongoing drama, instead channeling energy into positive outlets like his art shows and upcoming films. In 2026, his net presence remains strong, with supporters celebrating each new update from set photos to trailer teases for Ebenezer. The excitement builds naturally because people remember the depth he brings to characters. The trial may have paused some opportunities, but it did not erase the decades of work that made him an icon, from Sweeney Todd to Fantastic Beasts and beyond. His body of films continues to entertain new generations while he adds fresh entries to that list. Looking at both their situations today reveals how life after a major scandal can diverge. Johnny has leaned into resurgence with major projects and a loyal fan base that stuck by him through the hardest times, while Amber has stepped into privacy and selective work in a new country. This contrast highlights individual choices and the different ways people heal and rebuild. No narrative is simple after such events, but the facts from the courtroom and the years since provide a foundation for understanding where they stand. The jury's verdict was clear after weeks of testimony, and that resolution allowed Johnny space to focus on recovery and career. Steps that feel true to him. In interviews around his current projects, he comes across as reflective yet forward-looking, appreciating the chance to create again without the weight of constant questions about the past. This authenticity connects with audiences who value real stories over polished images. His transformation for the Scrooge role with gray hair and period costume has already sparked discussions about how he embodies the character's journey from isolation to connection, mirroring in some ways his own path through challenges back to creative fulfillment. Meanwhile, reports from Madrid show Amber integrating into daily life there, handling school runs and community moments with her children. Her choice to use a different name in some contexts reflects a desire for normalcy. After years under the microscope at 40 years old, she marks personal milestones, quietly focusing on what matters most to her. In the present, this separation of paths in 2026 feels complete with Johnny in the film world spotlight again and Amber in her chosen sanctuary. The public conversation has also matured, with many acknowledging the complexity of relationships and how media amplifies everything. The trial exposed deep issues on both sides, yet the legal outcome stood as a reference point for accountability based on presented evidence. Johnny's fans often point to specific moments from the courtroom, like the audio clips and witness statements that supported his case, as reasons they believed in him throughout and his post. Trial behavior reinforced that trust. By staying productive and avoiding retaliation through his actions, he demonstrated the resilience many admired from the beginning. As we sit here in 2026, the landscape looks like this. Johnny Depp prepares for a holiday release that could reintroduce him to wide audiences in a powerful way, while continuing other creative pursuits. And Amber Heard builds a family-centered life in Spain with occasional artistic contributions that suit her current chapter. Both have stories that continue beyond the headlines, and their current standings reflect choices made in the years following the intense public battle. Johnny's return feels earned through patience and talent, while Amber's privacy shows a different kind of strength in stepping away from the noise. This honest look at their positions today avoids exaggeration, focusing instead on verifiable updates like his CinemaCon appearance and her Sundance documentary moment. Fans, especially those who supported Johnny through it all, see his progress as inspiring because it comes from real effort, not shortcuts. The upcoming films carry the weight of expectation, but also the excitement of seeing an actor with his range take on fresh challenges, whether in dramatic period pieces or thrillers. His versatility remains a constant, and that is what keeps audiences returning to his work in the end. 2026 captures Johnny Depp in a phase of renewed momentum, grounded in the lessons of the past, yet open to new possibilities. And Amber Heard in a space of personal reinvention, centered on family and quieter pursuits. Their stories remind us that life after controversy involves moving forward one step at a time, with the world watching, but the individuals choosing their directions. This balanced reality is what makes the topic still relevant years later, as people reflect on justice, careers, and personal growth in the entertainment industry. What do you think about where Johnny Depp stands today in 2026 with his new films on the horizon and that steady return to what he does best? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Did the Virginia trial change how you see his journey, or Amber Heard's path in Spain? If you appreciate this straightforward look at the facts, hit like and share with other fans who followed the story from the beginning. Stay tuned for more updates on Johnny's upcoming projects like Ebenezer, because his next chapter looks genuinely promising and real.